By doing this, she's not merely saying yes to you. I trust you, she says. You have my whole attention. Control. I recognize your strength. 99% merely listen to the first portion, but fail to comprehend the second and third. They consider this action to be their triumph, their individual achievement, another a checkmark on their manly list accomplishments. However, this is a huge manly deceit, an ego trap that causes you to feel similar to a conqueror, when in fact, she is now conducting your most significant test. She's not observing at your method. She's examining your response. She is experimenting without realizing it, who you are, an appreciative boy who has got the reward they have been waiting for, or a monarch who receives the greatest gift from his woman, with honor. Additionally, everything is dependent upon the response to this unspoken query, her future appeal, her regard, and her devotion. And we'll analyze this today. Use depth psychology like a scalpel. We will not be discussing physiology. We'll be discussing trust, power, and the female tests that were concealed. Making use of the keys that Carl and Sigmund Freud left for us, Gustafung, I'll demonstrate to you what her consent actually is, implies on an intuitive and symbolic level. You'll discover the deadly errors almost all men go on to make losing his status in her right-away eyes. Most significantly, you will receive an unambiguous formula for the ideal response that can change you from a simple lover into her ideal self, into a divinity of her own sort. However, I have to alert you, if you simply observe until you will only receive half the truth in the middle. The most crucial key will be revealed by me at the very end. So, before we start, kindly, please like this video immediately. And if you're brand new and prepared to go, subscribe for the path to true knowledge. At this moment, a dot. Before we begin, I'm incredibly interested in our geography. Please comment with the city you're in, from. Our shared map is crucial to me. The archetype of trust, Part 1. What Freud and Jung have to say about her Vulite Aro. Let's clarify one issue. Her giving your permission for this type of intimacy is a behavior that goes well beyond basic physical desire or, as many believe, marital obligation. It's an extremely intricate psychological and even a gesture of development. To comprehend its actual depth, we must go down to lowest levels of the human mind, and Sigmund is our first guide here. Freud. Describe this gesture made by a psychoanalytic perspective. It's an intentional reversal, a trip back to the initial phase of psychosexual Freud, referred to this process as the oral stage. Imagine a baby. Its initial interaction with the outside world, love, and security occurs through the oral cavity. It gets nourishment from the mother's breast, not only sustenance, but also warmth, safety, and complete unqualified approval. There isn't any fear there, no fear, only complete faith. A dot. And now, an adult woman with you years after unintentionally replicates this precise pattern. Accepting this action, she symbolically goes back to that condition of infantile susceptibility and limitless have faith. Her old limbic system, her brain, signals to her. It's secure. In this place, you can trust this man just as much as a mom. He won't hurt anyone. He is a source of protection and warmth. Recognize the signal's depth. These aren't only words. This is a judgment from her nervous system. If a woman doesn't feel totally secure, she will deeply connect with you on an animal level. Never follow through on it. She'll locate she has 1,000 justifications and excuses, headache, or simply not feel like it. Her instinct for self-preservation just prevents her from going into this state of complete weakness. Her yes is therefore the highest biological supplement to your inside state. She is communicating with you non-verbally. Around you, my instincts are silent. They acknowledge you as a safety guarantor. However, Freud perceived this as a return to Carl Jung. His pupil and childhood trust would delve even further into the group unconscious. This gesture is more than just a regression. It is a strong archetype. Custom. This brings us to the second signal. She provides you with the acknowledgement of your current situation, the acknowledgement of the monarch inner archetypal. How does this mean? Jung asserts that within each, the anima is a woman's unconscious picture of the perfect dude. And this picture is constantly looking for the outside world, for a representation of power, discipline, strength, and self-assurance. She's trying to find a man who is representative of the king, head, or figurehead, the individual who is responsible for establishing the rules and guides others. A dot. Thus, her agreement to this action is a coronation in symbolism. It is a ceremonial act of recognition your elevated position. You get it? She isn't only for your enjoyment. In the language of symbols, in the soul's language, I acknowledge your power, she says. In you, I see the king, and I'm prepared to follow you. She uses this gesture as a means of demonstrating that within the structure of your you, take the lead in the relationship. She willingly accepts a subordinate situation, not due of her weakness, but since she is aware of your strength. She saves this behavior for the person in. She perceives him as a leader. She will never accomplish this for a man she doesn't admire, for an attractive man in the friend zone, or for a person she views as her equal or lower in the hierarchy. She may go to sleep, but this gift is reserved for them, just for the person who has gone before her. Unintentional status audition. Consequently, your worst error is to believe you earned it or convinced them. No, you exhibited the traits of a king. And she answered with the only ritual ingrained in her group unresponsive for the situation. This isn't your triumph. She has a choice, her soul's decision to acknowledge you as her monarch. Secondly, the play of libido and shadow. When her yes isn't apparently, we've demonstrated that in a perfect world, her yes is a sign of status recognition and trust. However, the human psyche, as both Jung and Freud believed taught us, is much more intricate than simply noble motivations. Occasionally, the exact same behavior can be motivated by completely various covert intentions, and our mission is to become able to tell them apart. Let's begin with Freud and his theory once more of the yearning energy, the libido, which isn't usually unadulterated love. This energy can occasionally be effective in a strategic manner. This leads us to recognizing the investment in the yes. What is this? This is a circumstance in which a woman don't make this gesture too often, at the height of passion, but from an intuitive desire to make the connection stronger, raise her perceived worth in your eyes, and in a do not imagine how sense might make you feel indebted. A circumstance where the partnership has cooled down somewhat. You've begun to pay less. Pay attention to her. Perhaps she senses that you're removing herself from her mental state at this time. May initiate a protective mechanism. She chooses to take extraordinary action for you. It's not something she does for everyone. Daily. She makes a significant deposit into your partnership. It's how she expressing without using words. Take a look at me, ready to assist you. See how much I have faith in yourself. There won't be another woman such as myself. For this instance, her libido is not intended for instant gratification, but with the long-term objective of maintaining and bolstering the union. She is putting her trust, her vulnerability, her time in you. Additionally, any investment as we anticipate a response. She subconsciously anticipates that following such a gesture, you'll pay closer attention, more devoted and giving. She lifts the stakes to make you pay attention to her again. Not always is this a conscious manipulation. Usually it's a naturally inclined woman, coping mechanism in a partnership. However, there are instances when something far more sinister is hidden behind this motion. And now Jung appears to assist us with his idea of the shadow. Our shadow is a component of our individuality that we fail to recognize and repress our innermost desires, selfishness, a desire for power, and grudges, and occasionally, her yes comes out of the blue. From there, this is the affirmative as manipulation. Here, the act of trust becomes a means of accomplishing a particular self-centered objective. She isn't exposing her vulnerability to you, it's a bait for her. How do you know? The distinction between a genuine impulse and what a clever game. Three are present, tiny clues that consistently reveal her genuine plans. She is the first indication. Conduct right away. If it was a genuine gesture, she will feel more at ease, gentle, yet later a bit bashful. She'll look for your warmth and defense. Should it have been manipulation, her one of two changes in behavior will occur. Items. She will either become into demonstratively chilly, as though to express, I've fulfilled my end of the bargain. Now it's your turn. Or, on the other hand, excessive loving and obliging, while getting the foundation for the following action. The second sign is what she is asking for in the following days. If this occurs within a day or two act, she asks for something quite unexpected. To borrow funds, purchase a pricey thing, resolve a significant issue for her. There's 90% of the time. This was a setup. She made people feel indebted and thankful to make it more difficult for you to say no. In essence, she's saying, I did that for you, and you are unable to perform this small something for me. Additionally, the third most implicit sign is when your limits are being tested. Following this kind of manipulation, she could begin taking more risks and experimenting with she is now able to get away with it. She could be arriving late for a date without saying sorry or in front of you, make out with another man. She can see how completely enamored you are and your level of concern about losing access to this present. She knows if you swallow it, the deception was successful. Additionally, she's holding the control lever now. This is the depth you will discover throughout each of my videos. If this is the strategy you've been seeking, this is the ideal moment to sign up. Lastly, the third most prevalent concealed explanation for her yes as a test. Here are Jung and Freud's motivations. Blend together. She might actually want closeness, but her subconscious continues to use now time to make one last inspection. Are you the person you claim to be? The king archetype was projected onto you. She thought highly of you. She is now need conclusive evidence. Her exam will be in watching your response. Your response. Her gift serves as the ultimate test of your essence, your sense of self-worth. She observes your behavior, similar to a thankful child who is astonished by his good fortune, or like a self-assured man who welcomes her devotion as it is due while yet appreciating it. If you fail this test, her attraction will grow. On a king's image will start to disintegrate like a deck of cards. She wants to see more than simply a man. She wishes to see proof of her decision. She picked you because she thought you were powerful. Additionally, if your response demonstrates if she is weak or needy, she will feel deeply disappointed. Not a great deal in you, but also in her instinct, and that's a straight line to losing her appeal and respect. Section 3. Men's Deadly Errors. How Not to Diminish Her Best GI. We've reached the most important stage. You can be as intelligent, powerful, and as prosperous as you choose. However, if you make one of the moment's two deadly errors following this deed, everything you've constructed can be reversed up until that point. It is in this short period of time that she sees your status as calibrated. The first and most typical error is the first mistake, excessive happiness or The boy's response. What takes place? She makes her vulnerable to you and in. On her way back, she spots a man who appears to be recently won the lottery. Too much joy. Phrases like, "Oh my God, that was incredible. Thank you. Thank you. I've waited so long for this." He starts fussing, showering her with thanks, acting like a fan who just got an autograph from a star. Why is this a mistake? Because such a reaction instantly communicates one simple thing to her. For me, this is a huge rarity and of supreme value. And what is rare and supremely valuable? Something you can't get regularly. Something that by your own internal assessment, you don't quite deserve. Your ecstatic joy is a signal of your low self-esteem and low position in the relationship. Hierarchy. Let's recall the king archetype. Does a king act surprised and overjoyed when his subjects bring him gifts and swear allegiance? Number. He accepts it with dignity. He values it. But for him, it is the natural order of things. He knows he deserves it by right of his status. The boy's reaction completely shatters this archetype. In her eyes, you instantly transform from a king into a page who has been shown great mercy. And if she showed you mercy today, she might not show it tomorrow. The power shifts to her. The second mistake is the opposite extreme. Error number 2, silence and indifference or the tyrant's response. The man, having listened to advice about being an alpha, decides to show his imperturbability. After the act, he silently turns to the wall, or gets up and goes to the shower, or simply picks up his phone. He says nothing. He demonstrates complete indifference, thinking it will show his strength and independence. This is an even bigger mistake than the first. Why? Because she didn't just give you a physical act. She gave you her vulnerability, that very state of infantile trust Freud spoke of. She opened herself up to you completely, and in return, she received emptiness, neglect. Her gesture was devalued. She perceives this not as your strength, but as your disdain, as you having used her. A storm of thoughts rushes through her mind. I open my soul to him, and he doesn't care. I was just an object to him. I made a mistake. This hurts her far more than any harsh word. Such behavior doesn't just make her regret what she did. It causes her shadow, her dark side, to harbor resentment. And that resentment will inevitably find an outlet later in passive aggression, arguments over nothing, or coldness. The tyrant's reaction is the fastest way to kill her trust and make her shut you out forever. Both of these mistakes are two sides of the same coin. They show that the man doesn't understand what just happened. One devalues himself, the other devalues her gift. The correct path lies exactly in the middle, and that is the path of the king. Part 4. The King's Correct Response. What to do AFDRO. We've covered what not to do. Now for the most important part, a specific step-by-step algorithm for the correct response. A reaction that will not only solidify your status as a king, but will multiply her attraction and devotion. The ideal reaction consists of 2 parts, the right words and the right actions. Let's start with the words, the ideal words to say to her afterward. Forget praising her technique or how good it was for you. Those are all low-status physiological compliments. The king talks about something else. He talks about the essence. Your task is to say 1 or 2 short but powerful phrases that show you appreciated not the act, but its meaning. You saw not her lips, but her soul. Here are a few options. Choose the one that best fits your style. Immediately after holding a short pause, you say calmly and in a deep voice, I value your trust. Or, that was very intimate, or even more powerfully, thank you for your devotion. What do these phrases do? They hit the bullseye. You're not thanking her for a service like a boy. You are acknowledging the value of her gift, her trust, her openness, her devotion. You are showing that you understood the deeper meaning of her act. For a woman to hear, this is like bone for her soul. It means her most intimate gesture was understood and accepted correctly. These words instantly place you in the position of a strong, conscious man who sees the essence of things. You are not just a consumer of pleasure. You are a connoisseur of her feminine nature. This is incredibly bonding. She understands that she is with a man who can understand her without words, not a primitive male, and for such a man, she will be willing to do anything. However, words are only half the battle. The second equally important part is the ideal actions, nonverbal gestures that will cement the effect of your words and silently demonstrate your strength and gratitude. Immediately after you've spoken one of the key phrases, your sequence of actions should be as follows. A dot. First, don't fuss. Remain calm and relaxed. Take a that what happened was not a miracle, but a pleasant and natural part of your connection. This is the behavior of a confident man. Second, reach out your hand and slowly but firmly pull her towards you. No sudden movements. It should be the gesture of a master calling his woman. You are not asking her to come closer. You are gently demanding her presence. This gesture reestablishes physical contact, but on your terms in your dominant frame. Third, when she is close, embrace her. And here is the key detail. Kiss her not on the lips, but on the crown of her head, her forehead, or her temple. Why is this so important? A kiss on the lips is a kiss of an equal. A lover's kiss, a kiss on the forehead or crown, is a gesture of protection, patronage, the tenderness of the strong towards the more vulnerable. It is the gesture of a father, a king, a god. With this gesture, you are saying without words, you were vulnerable, you trusted me, and now you are under my protection again. Everything is all right. You close this vulnerability cycle, restoring her sense of security. This is an incredibly powerful psychological anchor. This exact combination, the right words about trust plus the right gestures of protection, is the king's reaction. You simultaneously show that you value her gift, but are not needy for it. You demonstrate the gratitude of the strong, not the joy of the weak. You solidify your high status while giving her what she craves, most a sense of security with a strong man. After such a reaction, her doubts will vanish. She will know for sure she made the right choice. This is how you pass her ultimate test. And from this moment on, she will be ready to give you her devotion again and again because she will be certain that her gift is in the right hands. Conclusion from Lover to Air Cheat YP. At the very beginning, I said that this gesture is her main exam for you. Now you know how to pass it. Now you understand that it was never about technique, physiology, or frequency. It was always about psychology, about status, trust, and power. When a woman agrees to this act, she is handing you a key not just to her body, but to her unconscious. She is giving you a chance to stop being just a nice guy, a lover, or even a husband to her. She is giving you a chance to become an archetype for her, the embodiment of that masculine force to which she instinctively wants to submit. Most men don't see this key. They take it, fumble clumsily with the lock, and end up either breaking the key or the door itself. They react like boys or tyrants, and each time they drop their status, making her regret her choice. But you know better now. You know that the correct reaction, the king's reaction, is not just a tactic. It's a mindset. It's a demonstration of your inner rank. Every time you react correctly to this gift of hers, you will strengthen your image as a king in her soul. You will become not just a man of flesh and blood to her, but something more. The one who gives her a sense of absolute security. The one whose power she gladly acknowledges. The one whom she wants to serve. and this is the highest level of a relationship accessible only to those who understand the hidden languages of the female soul. Today, we figured out how to correctly understand and react to her. Yes. However, what does her nitrogen monoxide to this proposal really mean? What hidden reasons are behind her refusal? And how should you react to not lose status, but actually strengthen it? The psychology of female refusal is even more important, and that's exactly what we'll be dissecting in the next video. To make sure you don't miss it, ensure you're subscribed and be sure to hit the notification bell dot. And now, the main question for you. Think back and write in the comments how your own attitude towards this gesture has changed as you've become more experienced and started to understand women more deeply. Let's gather all our collective wisdom in the comments below. I'll pin the best tales